The steady, rhythmic beep 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 of the heart monitor is the only thing keeping the silence from swallowing the room whole. Liam, 28, his face a pale ghost against the pristine white pillowcase, is a fragile tangle of wires and tubes. He's been unconscious for 12 hours. A single, dark bruise blooms on his temple, a morbid flower on a face once so full of life and defiance. Across the room, at the foot of the bed, stands Ethan, 29. His jaw is a granite monument to his fury. He's dressed in a torn, sweat-soaked hoodie and jeans, his hair a mess from where he's been running his hands through it all night. He watches the monitor, not Liam. The sound, the relentless beat, is a cruel joke. He hates the sound. He hates this room. He hates him. Liam's hand, slack and still, lies half open on the crisp sheet. A memory flashes, sharp and unwelcome. The way those fingers used to trace the line of his jaw, the gentle pressure that could soothe a panic attack, the strong grip that pulled him from the wreckage of his own life. Ethan's stomach clenches. He clenches his fists, the knuckles turning white, and a low, guttural growl escapes his throat. "You said you'd stay away," Ethan whispers, his voice raw, laced with a bitter venom. His eyes, dark and haunted, finally shift to Liam's face. The sight of him, so vulnerable and broken, twists a knife in his gut. It's not pity. It's pure, unadulterated rage. Why couldn't he just leave him alone? Why did he have to come back? A nurse, a kind-faced woman with tired eyes, peeks her head in. She sees Ethan's rigid posture, the clenched fists. She hesitates, then speaks softly. "He's stable. The doctors said they're optimistic." Ethan doesn't even flinch. He just stares, a black hole of resentment. The nurse sighs, a quiet, almost inaudible puff of air, and slips back out. Ethan closes his eyes, trying to block out the memory. The phone call, the voice on the other end, frantic, breathless. "Ethan, it's Liam. He's been in an accident. A car crash. He was trying to get to you." The words, a jumbled mess of static and terror, had hit him like a physical blow. He dropped the phone, his world tilting on its axis. And then he was in his car, flying through the dark, the speedometer a blur, the past and present collapsing in on each other. The air in the room is thick with the scent of antiseptic and something else, something that smells like old wounds. It's the smell of their history, a bitter perfume that clings to them both. Ethan opens his eyes again, and the anger floods back, a cold, cleansing tide. "I told you I didn't want your help," he says, the words sharp and pointed, aimed at the still figure on the bed. "I told you to stay out of my life." He remembers the last time they saw each other. Cafe. 6 years ago. The bitter coffee, the cold rain streaming down the window. Liam had looked so small, so lost, clutching a well-worn leather satchel. He tried to speak, to explain, but Ethan hadn't let him. "You made your choice, Liam. You left. You disappeared. Don't you dare come back and pretend you care." The words had been a shield, a flimsy protection against the gaping hole in his chest. And Liam? He just looked at him, his big, brown eyes swimming with something Ethan couldn't decipher. Regret? Pity? Fear? Then he just vanished. A ghost in a cafe. A ghost in his life. For 6 years. Until now. Now he's a ghost in a hospital bed. A ghost with a heart monitor. The irony is so sharp it could cut him. Ethan sinks into the chair next to the bed, the springs groaning in protest. He buries his face in his hands, the rough cotton of his hoodie a poor substitute for the comfort he desperately needs. A single, choked sob escapes him, a sound he hadn't known he was capable of. He chokes it back, furious with himself for showing any weakness. He can't let himself feel anything. He built walls so high, so thick, that he's forgotten how to climb over them. The pain, the crushing loss, the humiliation, it's all locked away in a box deep inside him. And Liam is the one with the key. A cold hand touches his shoulder. He flinches, his head snapping up. The nurse is back, her face a mask of gentle concern. "Sir, you need to rest," she says, her voice a low hum. "I'll sit with him. Go home. Take a shower. Get some sleep." Ethan looks at her, then at Liam's still form. He shakes his head, a gesture of pure stubbornness. "I'm not leaving," he says, his voice a gravelly whisper. I need to be here. He doesn't know why. He doesn't want to admit it to himself. But deep down, in the fractured, broken part of his soul, he knows. He knows that if he leaves, if he turns his back on Liam again, he'll be swallowed whole by the darkness he's been fighting for 6 years. He'd rather hate him here in this room than be consumed by the ghost of him out there. A tremor runs through Liam's hand, the one lying on the bed. Ethan's head snaps down, his gaze fixed on the movement. A single finger, then another curls inward, as if grasping for something. Ethan's breath hitches. He reaches out without thinking, and his hand hovers just above Liam's. He wants to touch him, to feel the warmth of his skin, to make sure he's real. But he can't. The hatred, the shame, the hurt, it's a wall between them. A wall he built brick by painful brick. His hand drops, defeated. He pulls back, away from the bed, a step, then another. The distance feels safer. The nurse's eyes follow him, her expression unreadable. He looks back at Liam. The steady beep of the monitor is an accusation now. It's a constant reminder of how close he came to losing him again, this time for good. And for a fleeting, terrifying moment, he admits the truth to himself. He doesn't hate him. He hates himself for letting him go. He hates himself for the words he spoke, the choices he made. He hates the gaping hole in his own heart that Liam had left behind. His eyes burn. He turns and walks out into the dimly lit hallway, the hospital's cold air hitting him like a physical shock. He leans his head against the sterile wall, closing his eyes, and a single silent tear slides down his cheek, a traitorous release of the pain he'd so carefully locked away. The clock on the wall ticks on, marking every second that he wasn't with Liam, every second he chose to be alone. It ticks and ticks, a slow, agonizing countdown to the moment he finally has to face the truth. The faint scent of old books and burnt coffee clings to the air. A thin layer of dust covers everything, a testament to Ethan's neglect. The blinds are drawn, casting the room in a permanent twilight. He sits hunched over his laptop, the screen a stark, flickering light in the gloom. He's trying to work, to lose himself in the familiar, comforting rhythm of code, but the words blur, the syntax breaks down. All he can see is Liam's face, pale and still. All he can hear is the infernal beep 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 of the heart monitor. He slams the laptop shut, the sound echoing like a gunshot in the silent room. A groan of frustration rips from his chest. He pushes himself up and stalks to the kitchen, yanking open a cabinet. It's bare except for a single half-empty bottle of whiskey. He grabs it and twists the cap off, taking a long, fiery swig. The burn in his throat is a welcome distraction. A low buzz startles him. His phone. The screen lights up with a message from a number he doesn't recognize. He's awake. Leo. The name sends a jolt through him, an electric current of shock and anger. Leo. Of course. Leo was the one who was with Liam, the one who had called him, the one he'd been avoiding for years. Leo, who had always been the one to pick up the pieces. Ethan clutches the phone, his knuckles white. A storm of memories rages inside him. The last time he saw Leo, Liam was with him. They were laughing, their heads thrown back, a picture of perfect, effortless joy. It was the night before Liam disappeared, and a bitter jealousy, a venomous, all-consuming thing, had clawed its way up his throat. He had watched them from across the room, at a party he didn't even want to be at, and he had felt it. The sharp, agonizing pain of an irreversible choice. He'd left without saying a word. Now that choice has come back to haunt him. He slams the whiskey bottle down on the counter, the glass rattling. He can't go back to that hospital. Not now. Not when Liam is awake. Not when he has to face him, to face the truth of what he did. But the image of Liam, so fragile, so broken, flashes in his mind again. And a raw, primal need to see him, to make sure he's okay, overwhelms him. He pulls on his torn hoodie, grabs his keys, and runs out the door. Ethan bursts into the room, his breath coming in ragged gasps. The first thing he sees is Liam. He's propped up, his hair mussed, his eyes open. He's talking to Leo, who is sitting on the edge of the bed, a gentle smile on his face. Liam turns his head, and their eyes meet. The world stops. For a long, agonizing moment, neither of them says a word. Liam's eyes, the color of warm, melted chocolate, are wide with 1,000 unspoken questions. They're no longer the hopeful, pleading eyes of the boy he left behind, but the knowing, tired eyes of a man who has seen too much. "Ethan," Liam says, his voice a whisper, hoarse and weak. The sound of his name, spoken by that voice, hits Ethan like a freight train. He can't breathe. He can't speak. He just stands there, his mind a jumbled mess of memories and fear. Leo stands up, his smile fading, replaced by a look of weary compassion. He's tall and lanky, with a graceful ease that Ethan has always envied. I'll go get a nurse." He gives Ethan a quiet, knowing look and slips out of the room. Silence. The heart monitor's steady beeping is a background character now. Ethan takes a step forward. "What happened?" he asks, his voice rough. Liam's mouth twitches, a ghost of a smile. "What do you think happened? I was trying to get to you." The words are a punch to the gut. Ethan flinches. "I told you not to come near me. And I told you that was impossible," Liam says, his voice gaining a bit of strength. "I couldn't just ignore you. Not after what I found out." What he found out? What could he possibly have found out? The question hangs in the air, a thick, suffocating thing. "What are you talking about?" Ethan demands, his hands clenched into tight fists. Liam's eyes close for a moment, a wave of exhaustion washing over him. He opens them again, and they're swimming with a complicated mix of sadness and resolve. "I saw him, Ethan. Your dad. He came to my gallery. He told me the truth." Ethan's heart lurches. His dad? What does his dad have to do with any of this? The hatred, the shame, the choices, it all came from his dad. His dad's words. His dad's judgment. Liam continues, his voice low and full of a pain that mirrors Ethan's. "He told me about the night I left. He said he came to you, and he told you that if you ever saw me again, he'd disown you. He'd cut you off. And he told you that he'd make sure no one would ever see you again either." The words fall on Ethan like a rain of broken glass. He feels the sting, the sharp, agonizing truth of them. His jaw goes slack. His hands, once so tightly clenched, loosen. The shield he'd built, the one he'd relied on for 6 long years, shatters into a million pieces. He remembers that night, the storm of his father's rage, the bitter, poisonous words. "He's a mistake, Ethan. He's going to ruin you. You need to choose, me or him." And Ethan had chosen. He had chosen to save himself, to save his future, to stay in his father's good graces. He had chosen to be the man his father wanted him to be. He looks at Liam now, at the man who had loved him enough to leave to save him. The man he had hated for so long, not for leaving, but for making him face the truth about his own cowardice. A tear, hot and heavy, rolls down Ethan's cheek, the first in 6 years. Liam watches it, his own eyes glistening. "I didn't hate you, Liam," Ethan whispers, the words tearing from his throat, raw and honest. "I hated myself." The confession hangs in the air, a fragile, trembling thing. Ethan stands frozen, the words echoing in the silence. He can't take them back. He doesn't want to. It feels like the first honest breath he's taken in years. Liam's eyes, filled with a bottomless sadness, never leave his. A single, crystalline tear rolls down Liam's temple and disappears into his hair. "Ethan, why didn't you tell me?" he asks, his voice a broken whisper. I thought you just hated me. That I wasn't good enough." Ethan's shoulders slump. The weight of his 6-year lie feels like a physical burden. He shakes his head, unable to meet Liam's gaze. I was a coward. I let him win. I let him take away the best part of me." He finally looks up, his eyes pleading. "Every day, for 6 years, I woke up and I hated myself. I hated that I didn't fight for you. I hated that I chose his approval over my own happiness. When I saw you again, I couldn't face the truth. So I made it about you. I made it your fault." A low hum of a medical cart in the hallway outside is the only sound. The antiseptic smell is suffocating now, a reminder of the fragility of life, the precariousness of their reunion. Liam reaches out a hand, and for the first time, Ethan doesn't flinch. He takes a step forward, a tentative, shaky step, and lets Liam's fingers brush against his. The touch is electric, a current of longing and pain and forgiveness. "You came back for me?" Ethan says, the words a question, a plea. Liam's fingers curl around Ethan's hand, the grip weak but sure. "I never left. Not really. I kept an eye on you. I had to. And when I saw what he was doing, how he was suffocating you, I couldn't just stand by." "What did you find out?" Ethan asks, his voice barely audible. Liam closes his eyes, a soft sigh escaping him. "Your dad, he was sabotaging you. He was the reason your gallery deal fell through. The reason your funding was pulled. He was the one who spread the rumor that you were unreliable. He wanted to make sure you were trapped, that you'd never have a life without his support." Ethan's world tilts again. The gallery, the funding, the missed opportunities. He had always blamed himself. He had internalized his father's poison, believing he was a failure, that he wasn't good enough. The rage that had been a constant companion for years, the one he had aimed at Liam, now finds its true target. "He didn't just take you away from me," Ethan whispers, his voice trembling with a terrifying, cold fury. "He took everything." The doors to the hospital room swing open, and a doctor walks in, followed by a nurse and Leo. The light from the hallway floods the room, a harsh, unforgiving glare. "Mr. Davis," the doctor says, his voice calm and professional. "I'm glad to see you're awake. We're going to run a few more tests. Just a precaution." Liam nods, his eyes still locked on Ethan. Leo catches Ethan's eye, a silent conversation passing between them. Leo's face, usually so open, is a mask of concern. He knows everything. The doctor and nurse start to work, their movements practiced and efficient. They unhook a few wires, check the bandage on Liam's head, ask a series of questions. Liam answers them, but his attention is elsewhere. He can't stop looking at Ethan, at the raw, vulnerable fear in his eyes. Ethan's hand is still in Liam's, and he squeezes it gently, a silent promise. Liam squeezes back. It's a connection, a link that had been severed for too long, a bridge of understanding that had been so cruelly broken. Leo comes to Ethan's side. "I'm glad you're here," he says, his voice low. Ethan just nods, unable to speak. He looks at Leo, then at the doctor, then back at Liam. He can't let him leave. Not again. Not now. He feels a sudden, overpowering surge of panic. He needs to protect him. He needs to tell him everything. He needs to make him understand how sorry he is, how much he loves him. Liam's eyes flutter. A low groan escapes him. The heart monitor starts to beep faster. A lot faster. The gentle rhythm is gone, replaced by a frantic, panicky staccato. The doctor looks up, his face a mask of concern. His vitals are dropping. "What did you say to him?" he asks Ethan, his voice sharp. Ethan's heart lurches. He hadn't said anything. He had just stood there. He had just held his hand. Liam's hand goes slack. His eyes roll back. He's gone. The heart monitor starts to screech, a loud, piercing, agonizing shriek. The flatline. Ethan's mind goes blank. The world goes silent. All he can hear is that terrible sound. The sound of a life ending. The sound of his own heart breaking. Again. He stumbles back, his hand falling from Liam's. The doctor and nurse are a blur of motion, rushing to the bed, shouting commands. Leo is a pale ghost in the corner, his hand over his mouth, his eyes wide with horror. Ethan sinks to the floor, his knees giving out. The cold, hard tiles feel like a foreign planet. The room, once a sanctuary of fragile hope, is now a vortex of noise and chaos. The doctor yells, "Defibrillator! Get the crash cart!" And Ethan is a little boy again, watching his father yell, watching Liam walk away, watching his own life crumble around him. The tears come now, a torrent, a tidal wave of pain and regret and shame. He buries his face in his hands, his body shaking with silent sobs. He can't bear to look. He can't bear to face the man he'd loved, the man he'd so cruelly pushed away, the man he might have lost forever, all because of his own cowardice. The sound of the defibrillator charging is a sick, cruel joke. The world is a cacophony of white noise. The shrill, piercing shriek of the heart monitor, the thud of the crash cart, the frantic shouts of the medical staff. Ethan is on his knees, a crumpled, sobbing mess on the sterile floor. He hears the doctor's sharp commands. "Clear!" Again. Clear, followed by the sickening thud of the defibrillator paddles. He squeezes his eyes shut, trying to block out the image of Liam's body convulsing, the terrible finality of the sound. He's going to lose him. He's going to lose him, and it's all his fault. The words, the secrets, the years of bottled-up hatred and pain, they had been too much. They had broken him. No, please. Ethan screams, the sound tearing from his throat, raw and desperate. He tries to get up, to get to Liam, to beg him to stay, but Leo's hand is on his shoulder, a firm, grounding weight. He's fighting, Ethan, Leo says, his voice thick with emotion. He's fighting. The words are a lifeline. Ethan looks up, his vision blurry with tears. The heart monitor is still flatlining. But the doctor is still working. He isn't giving up. Hope, a fragile, trembling thing, begins to unfurl in Ethan's chest. Another shock. Clear. The paddles thud against Liam's chest. Nothing. Ethan's mind is a frantic, looping reel of memories. Liam's hand in his, a quiet day by the lake, the taste of sunshine and freedom. Liam's laugh, a sound like wind chimes, ringing in a crowded room. Liam's eyes, full of love, seeing him for who he was, before his father's poison had corrupted everything. Liam's goodbye, the last look, the silent plea. He remembers his own bitter words, the cutting sarcasm, the wall he'd put up. He had pushed away the only person who had ever truly seen him, who had ever truly loved him. He had chosen to be alone. He had chosen to be a coward. The doctor shakes his head, his face grim. It's not we're losing him. Ethan's heart shatters. No, he can't. Not like this. He crawls forward, ignoring Leo's desperate pleas, until he's right next to the bed. He grabs Liam's still hand, the one that had held his just moments before, and he holds it to his face. The skin is cool, a chilling premonition of what's to come. Liam, please, he sobs, the words a jumbled mess of regret and love. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I love you. I never stopped. Please, Liam, don't go. I can't do this without you. Please. I need you. I need you more than anything. He feels the tears, hot and salty, land on Liam's cold skin. The heart monitor is still flat. The room is silent now, the medical staff standing by, their faces a mix of pity and resignation. They have tried. They have done all they could. But Ethan doesn't care. He holds Liam's hand, his body shaking with the force of his grief. He had wasted 6 years. 6 years of loneliness, of anger, of self-hatred. 6 years of believing a lie. And for what? For a father who would never accept him? For a life that was empty and hollow? He would give it all back. Everything. Just to have one more moment with the boy he'd pushed away. One more day. One more chance. And then a sound. A soft, hesitant beep. Ethan's head snaps up. He stares at the monitor. Beep. Another one. A slow, steady rhythm. The flat line is gone. A new, fragile line, a thread of hope, begins to dance across the screen. The doctor rushes forward, a shocked expression on his face. He checks Liam's vitals again, his movements quick and decisive. He looks at Ethan, his eyes wide with a quiet awe. It's a miracle, he whispers. He's stabilized. His vitals are returning to normal. Ethan collapses against the bed, his body racked with a new kind of sob. The sobs of relief, of disbelief, of pure, unadulterated joy. He buries his face in the blankets, the rough cotton feeling like the softest silk. Liam is still here. He's alive. A few minutes later, the doctor and nurse leave, whispering among themselves. Leo walks over, his own eyes glistening. He doesn't say a word. He just places a hand on Ethan's shoulder, a gesture of silent support. Ethan looks down at Liam. His eyes are still closed, his face pale and peaceful. He looks so different from the boy he remembered, the boy who was always full of life and light. But he's still him. He's still Liam. And Ethan knows now that he can never let him go again. He will fight for him. He will fight for himself. He will tell the world who he is, and he will never let anyone, not his father, not his friends, not anyone, ever make him feel ashamed again. He will face his own truth, and he will do it with Liam by his side. He leans forward and gently kisses Liam's forehead, a single, feather-light touch. "I'm here now," he whispers, his voice thick with a promise. "I'm not going anywhere." The heart monitor beeps on, a soft, steady rhythm, a testament to a love that had defied all odds, a testament to a life that had been given a second chance, and a testament to a truth that was finally, gloriously, out in the open.